Peace, peace, peace. Peace, everyone. Thank you all for coming and tuning in as we analyze some things that's always been in front of us, but we never really realized. And some of the things that is currently going on still to this day. First, I rise, giving all perfect praise to our Father God, Allah, honors to His holy divine prophet, Prophet Noble Ali. Islam, I give honors to everything that is Moorish. I give honors to my ancestors. I give honors to my parents. I give honors to my husband, Brother Richard Neal Bay. I want to take a reading starting off from out of the Holy Quran of the Moorish Science Temple of America. Many times we do it because it is customary within the Moorish Science Temple of America to take a reading out of the Holy Quran, Islam. And I want to go to chapter 23, and I want to start off with verse 1. And it reads, "Consider thou art a parent, the importance of thy trust, the being thou hast produced, it is thy duty to support. Upon thee also it dependeth whether the child or thy bosom be a blessing or a curse to thyself, a useful or a worthless member of the community. Prepare him early with instruction and season his mind with the maxims of truth. Watch the bent of his inclinations, set him right in his youth, and let no evil habit gain strength with his years. So shall he rise like a cedar on the mountains, his head shall be seen above the trees of the forest. A wicked son is a reproach to his father, but he that doeth right is an honor to his great hairs. The soil is thy own. Let it not want cultivation. The seed which thou sowest, that also shall thy reap. Many of us don't know, realize, or understand that it is not the responsibility of teachers and leaders to develop us. You have to take the initiative yourself. You got to know thyself and thy Father God Allah. No one is going to hold your hand. This is a journey of life that you have to take on your own. Whatever your parents didn't do, know that when you're out in the world, you're really not going to get it either. So I want to uh, look at and analyze some things. I want to start off with a video that I watched last week. And when I was watching it, I couldn't believe what was said, because I'm saying to myself, we spend so much time being taught in the public educational system. Um, we spend so much time not really knowing or understanding that the soil is literally ours, the soil that we're on every day, that we are not, for most of us, we are not from anywhere else but here in America. Our ancestors are nowhere other than America. Um, so I want to get into this. Shout out to everyone that's coming in. If you want to post in the chat, you can. I'm gonna share. I'm gonna share my screen so we all can watch what's going on. If you like to support, you can. Check out the information on the screen, and let's get into it.
Show it to me. By the way, I know
you never showed that document.
any of them. That's the ridiculousness here. But go ahead, show it to me.
Okay, perfect. Because you never answered my.
Well, let me. I'm struggle streaming, y'all. Give me a moment. So it will play. Put sevens in the chat if you can hear it. Put sevens in the chat if you can hear it.
Oh my God, let me bring up my document. I didn't expect you to fall into that.
The Constitution.
It's the treat. Okay, let me show my
Everyone that went to school knows that. If you know that the supreme law of the United States is the Constitution, hit a 4 in the chat.
Then it's gonna be a lot of people that need to be educated. Let me show you something. Can I share my screen, Sonetta, when I get a chance?
But wait a minute. Before you do that, I answered.
That's up to you if you want him to share screen, man.
I answered his question. He did not answer mine.
Let him go ahead. Answer Jabari's question first.
Show me the word confederacy in a First Nations language, because you're saying that confederacies are not part of the United States. They're not. They didn't begin with the United States. Show me the word confederacy. Since you want to play semantics here, let's show it to me. By the way, I know
you never showed.
I know
you never showed that document.
Any of them. That's the ridiculousness here. But go ahead, show it to me.
Okay, perfect. Because you never answered my question.
I answered all of your questions.
You didn't answer the one either about the Negro black color being defined in law by this government.
Yeah, that's anything about Negro or black.
I did. I did. No, you did. But it's cool. It's cool. We'll jump to that Constitution where it states that. If you
heard him ask me a question about Negroes or black people being defined in law, if you heard him do that, hit a 1.
Yeah, bro. You got to answer Jabari's question now, man. This is the toughest environment, brother. You got to answer questions, brother. Come on, man.
Therefore, Jabari has salami in his refrigerator.
Can y'all see the screen? Because I'm not. Put a 7 in the chat if y'all can see my screen, because I'm not seeing it. Okay, someone said, no, we can hear. All right. What about now? Can y'all see the screen? Y'all put 7s in the chat if y'all can see the screen now. Okay, you said just a picture of me Thank y'all for bearing with me as we get it together. All right, we're going to get this together. What about now? Put sevens in the put sevens in the chat if you can see in here the screen. It said no screen, but you can hear it. I don't know why. Let me see. Let me go out and then come back in. Okay. All right, you said my picture, no screen, my picture. All right. Let me try it again.
Jabari, is it all right?
Yes.
Okay, cool.
I really want to get this so we can go over it. My picture, no screen. But y'all can hear it, right? It's added to the stream. Post. Present stop screen. Let me try something else. There we go. I figured it out. There we go. All right, we're gonna go ahead and play.
Jabari, is it all right?
Yes.
Okay, cool.
Now you're going to tell us what you're sharing, right?
You're not sharing nothing yet. I don't see nothing, brother.
Absolutely. I got you.
Don't give up too much, man, because you and Jabari might have to get in this ring and battle.
All right. Can you see my screen? Can everybody see it?
I got you. I see it. Your screen is up, brother.
Thank you.
No,
so I'm gonna read the second paragraph. Can you hear me?
Brother, you're mirroring.
Thank you all for bearing with me. We're gonna get into this.
Your screen, you have to show us what you're trying to show us. We're seeing
StreamYard.
Yeah.
Okay, hold on. Why is it not letting me pull up my whatchamacallit?
Open up what you want to share.
Got you. I got it open.
See, even they was having issues.
Click on it in the window when you hit share. Click on what you want to share inside of that box.
I got you. Let me go to Safari.
Do we know where you at? This ain't the minor leagues. This is the toughest environment to be in.
All right, can you see my screen?
No.
No. Yes, hold up.
Okay.
No, I don't see it.
Did I say Article 6?
No, I don't see your screen.
Now we want to play games.
We're not seeing your screen.
Your screen is not up, brother.
Okay, hold on. So I'm definitely sharing it.
While you're doing that, I want you to also tell me
if you want to come in, turn on your cameras.
When the United States Congress approved the war, declared the war in Vietnam as well. Because I guess you're saying
look at your screen, brother. Your screen sharing.
And there was a war in Afghanistan. That's what he said.
Yes, but you're only showing us on your screen.
So hold on now. I'm only showing y'all.
Yeah. Click on what you want to share.
I'm clicking on it. It's right next to it. Can you see it?
No, you're only showing us. You can see it yourself.
You have to show the whole screen, maybe. Although you're going to have a mirrored screen.
That's what I was doing before.
It's best to have two screens when you do this.
Believe me, I know that thing tripping. Hold on real quick. Let me do entire screen.
Do we know where you at? This ain't the minor leagues. This is the toughest environment to be in.
All right. Should be showing. If it ain't, I'm going to give you the link so you can pull it up.
All right. You're still showing us.
Yeah, I'm not sure what's going on with this thing. I'm going to drop it in the back chat.
You're doing it right. You just ain't clicking on what you want to share.
I'm definitely clicking on it, man.
Open up what you want to share.
What about that?
It and then say share.
That's exactly what I'm doing.
Nah, you ain't doing that, brother. Trust me, you're not.
Nope.
I just dropped it in the back chat. Can you pull that up for me then?
Okay.
Maybe a little easier. And that's going to show exactly what I just stated, that the treaty is the supreme law of the land, because that's the conversation. Click on it. Yeah, definitely click on it.
It's in the back chat, Jabari. I can't do it because it's
Now y'all heard him say the treaty is the highest law in the land. We're gonna continue. Shout out to Sonnet in the House of Consciousness.
What do you want me to pull up? It's a whole page. What do you want to show?
Article 6. It should link straight to it.
Okay, here, wait. I'll put it up.
I'm gonna get to y'all in a minute, y'all. I'm gonna get to y'all. Let this brother go ahead, and then I'm gonna give him to y'all.
Okay, perfect. And I can read it from my end. So we look at paragraph 2 of this article, okay? Because you just stated that Constitution is the supreme law of the land, correct?
It's right in the article that I knew you were going to do that.
Okay. So it says here, This Constitution and the laws of the United States shall be made in pursuance thereof, and all treaties made or which shall be made under the authority of the United States shall be the supreme law of the land.
Brother, this sentence says
supreme law of the land. So what is the supreme law of the land?
Brother, you're getting confused by the punctuation. This is saying,
listen,
that the Constitution and the laws of the United States, which shall be made in pursuance thereof, and all treaties made, in other words, the laws made in pursuance of the Constitutions, the treaties made of the Constitution, under authority of the United States, the supreme law of the land is the Constitution. You're getting confused by the punctuation. That is what Article 6 says, brother.
Brother.
You did not. Did you have civics?
It says, shall be the supreme law of the land.
Yes, brother.
Treaties made, or which shall be made under these. Brother, are you not understanding grammar, brother?
Brother, you're misreading this. It's very simple. The Constitution and the laws of the United States, which shall be made in pursuance thereof. What's the in pursuance thereof refer to?
Brother.
What does it refer to?
It says, and all treaties made.
Answer the question, brother. Answer the question.
What does the in pursuance thereof refer to?
In pursuance thereof, any treaties.
No.
What are you talking about?
How can it say that when it hasn't mentioned treaties yet?
In pursuance thereof, and there's a semicolon.
Brother, no, brother. Oh my goodness.
He said, how can it say that if it hadn't mentioned treaties yet? Now he asked them several times, what does it mean, pursuance thereof? And Chief Biko, shout out to Chief Biko in the Lost Confederacy, he said, in all treaties made.
Oh my goodness.
Are you serious?
Brother, I don't even understand how you're missing this. Your punctuation has you confused?
What?
Tell him what
are
it
you
is,
saying that it's saying?
Constitution. Listen, the Constitution and the laws of the United States, which shall be made in pursuance thereof, in pursuance of the Constitution, and all treaties made. This is in pursuance of the Constitution, or which shall be made in pursuance of the Constitution, under the authority of the United States, shall be the supreme law of the land. That's what this says. Look at the second part. It says, and the judges in every state shall be bound thereby. Anything in the Constitution, the judges are even bound in every state by anything in the Constitution or the laws of any state, to the contrary notwithstanding. This is
contrary notwithstanding
is the supreme law of the land.
Brother.
I don't even understand. Oh, how old are you, brother? Did you take civics?
Brother, did you take civics?
Zaquan.
I'm showing you that the supreme law of the land is the treaty,
That's
bro.
not what it says. Oh my goodness.
I don't know, maybe your grammar's a little off there, Jabari. But it's saying all treaties made or which shall be made in pursuance of
the United States.
What'd you say?
Brother, what Jabari's saying is true.
Oh my God.
That's the same thing about the Bible.
Oh my goodness.
When I was showing that the young golden side did not Sonetta did not understand what he was reading when he read this.
All right. Let's not take it to that. Just deal with what we're on right now, brother. Please, brother.
You gotta stay on task. Content, context, and intent.
Here goes Congress.com.
You got to understand, therefore, and but. These things are only thing which add to previous statements already said, conjoining a statement that you're about to read.
I don't even know how. I don't even know.
He just said conjoining a statement together. We're gonna continue.
Hey, no, I'm talking about conjunctions.
All right.
Let me say this. What you have to do is study that clause. Article 6 is called the supremacy clause. That's what it's called.
The Constitution is the supreme law of this land.
So that
it oversees state law, everything. The Constitution is the supreme law of this land. Individual states can make laws, but they got to be in pursuant to the Constitution of the United States. That is what they govern themselves by.
All right, Apostle. All right. I didn't bring you on yet to ask your question. So, brother, do you understand that? It's all right. No, hold on.
I got you.
It's all right if we make a mistake. That's how we learn. We are not perfect. We don't know everything. You are sitting before the Floyd Mayweather. He took the glasses off.
He said you're sitting before the Floyd Mayweather. These are all, now mind you, these are not young adults. These aren't young men. These are all aged men, right? We're talking about like 50 and older, right? Except for Chief Biko. He's young. This is really a teaching moment right here. I like this.
I want you to know.
Man.
And listen, hold on, Apostle. Everybody think it's easy until they have a seat into the toughest environment to be in. This is why Apostle ran. We had to send him back down to the minor leagues, to the majors. You know, we sent him back.
He's taking shots, but I would say that Apostle did just prove my point though in regards to Congress never declared.
Hold on. Let me say this to you.
Go ahead.
There's several things that you have to understand. First of all, there are treaties, right? There are many treaties, different entities. So how could a treaty be the supreme law of the land when we have a treaty, for example, with the United Kingdom? That's the supreme law of the land, the treaty with the United Kingdom. It doesn't explain what happens in the United States. The Constitution does. The other thing you have to understand is that the United States has had many undeclared wars. The Vietnam War was undeclared.
I just said that.
Wait a minute. Mm-hmm. The war in Iraq was undeclared. Iraq, I believe. Yes.
Vietnam, Korean War. Correct.
Yeah, so there's several undeclared wars. So I mean, it really doesn't matter whether you call the war a civil war or not. That's the reality. It doesn't matter what you call it. The reality is that it was fought to end enslavement. That's what it was.
That's not the reality.
That's what
not
it
the
was.
reality. That's not the reality.
Can I ask you a question, brother?
Go ahead.
What years was the Civil War fought?
They say it was fought between 61 and 65?
What 61? 61.
18.
Okay. So what started the Civil War and what ended the Civil War?
There was nothing that started it and nothing that ended it because it was never declared.
No.
I'm not going to let you do that now. Brother. I'm not going to let you do that now. Because the reason why I'm saying that is because you have a Seminole War. Hold on, let me. Go ahead. I've been letting you build. I've been letting you build, brother. I've been letting you build. The reason why I say that is because we have a Seminole War that is running congruent with a so-called Civil War. Again, both of them are war in name, but Congress never declared either of them. So if Congress never declared a war against the original people of this land, yet they made rules concerning the capture and water of this land, then everything that was taken unlawfully have to be given back to the Americans. So when you say that we are from Africa, that means that we have nothing attached to this land. We should all just take our asses back to Africa. Do you understand what I'm saying?
That is incorrect. You are
that's disingenuous. That's disingenuous for you to say African.
Correct. The reality is that the modern nation that is the United States was built by people of African descent. And if the Constitution is the supreme law of the land, people of African descent are citizens of the United States. Can you tell me without typing, which amendment to the Constitution gives Black people citizenship?
None. Where do you see Black in Congress? Where has Congress?
Now he done went from African descent, and now he's talking about Black people. Let's go.
Stated Black specifically. See, you getting convoluted. Like 13th and 14th and 15th Amendment gave the so-called Black, Negro, African American citizenship. That's not the case. If that's the case, brother, then why the hell would we have a 1964, 65, and 68 Civil Rights Act, which again never defined Black, Negro, colored, or African American?
All right, brother. I'm gonna have to move on to the next call, to the next question.
Answer that one, Jabari.
Looking forward to me calling you.
I got you.
Might have to bring out Alligator for Jabari, your teacher.
Oh my God.
You still ain't answer them questions, though. You still ain't answer them questions, though, son.
Sister Soul, you got to turn on your camera if you want to come in. All cameras must be on.
One of the things that happens when I speak to Aboriginals sometimes is they'll ask a question and then they'll say, because of that answer, this. And those two things don't exist in the same universe. Simply because the United States did not have a declared war, what does that have to do with anything? It was still fought, as was the Vietnam War. In fact, you might have known that Congress 3 weeks ago took back their declaration of war that was issued after 9/11. But the United States went into 2 countries, and people have been very upset about that. They're like, that is not what we asked you to do. So they took it back 3 weeks ago.
So let's get into it. Because what he was saying is that Congress nor the president, which was Abraham Lincoln at that time, never actually declared a civil war, which is true. Abraham Lincoln never declared a civil war. Congress never declared a civil war. That's the reason why it's called the Great Rebellion, because that's exactly what it was. He's not saying that there wasn't actual battles that occurred. What he's saying is there was no official declaration of a civil war, and the Union took over the natural resources of the land. You cannot do that per the Constitution. That is illegal. Now, let's get into this part with Article 6 and Clause 2 of the Constitution. Article 6 and Clause 2. Let me know if y'all can see this. Put 7s in the chat if y'all can see that my screen has changed. All right. So the screen has changed. Here we are. Let's go to Clause 2. Now, Jabari actually said that's the supremacy clause. It is. There's lots of clauses. There's over thousands of clauses. And clauses occur and happen because of Supreme Court rulings or legislation being updated, amended, changed, so on and so forth. So they add different clauses to it. Now, the supremacy clause. The supremacy clause, it says this Constitution, comma, and these are connected. The Constitution and the laws of the United States, which shall be made in pursuance thereof. Meaning the Constitution and the laws of the United States should be made in pursuance of the Constitution itself. Then you see this little thing called a semicolon. It says after and all treaties made, right? Now, Jabari was trying to explain punctuation, and Chief Biko was trying to explain punctuation, right? Jabari asked Chief Biko, did you go to civics class, right? So let's look at what a semicolon is, right? A semicolon is a symbol commonly used as orthographic punctuation. In the English language, a semicolon is most commonly used to link in a single sentence two independent clauses that are closely related in thought, such as when restating the preceding idea with different expression. So we see in clause 2 that it is joining in the Constitution, the laws, and the treaties. It says when a semicolon joins two or more ideas in one sentence, those ideas are then given equal rank, right? When a semicolon joins two or more ideas in one sentence. Well, let's go back and look at how many sentences do we see. This is one sentence, right? This Constitution and the laws of the United States, which shall be made in pursuant thereof, and all treaties made. All right, this is one sentence. How do we know this? We know this is one sentence because there is no period, right? We at least know that much. We should. So it says, when a semicolon joins two or more ideas in one sentence, those ideas are then given equal rank. Semicolons can also be used in place of commas to separate items in a list, particularly when the elements of the list themselves have embedded commas. So here it is. We know that the semicolon that is used in clause 2 brings all of it together. Makes it equal. Now, the thing about treaties is there's treaties that were never repealed before the existence of the United States of America. and continued on. So those treaties predate United States of America coming into power as a body politic and corporate, as a governing body. So those treaties that wasn't repealed continue to exist, right? It says, comma, or which shall be made, comma, under the authority of the United States, shall be the supreme law of the land. Or which shall be made under the authority of the United States shall be the supreme law of the land. So the treaties that were created before the Constitution that continues on are higher than the Constitution, than the laws of the United States. It even further tells us, and the judges in every state shall be bound thereby. Anything in the Constitution or laws of any states to the contrary notwithstanding. So the judges also have to follow Constitution, the laws, and the treaties. So this was really funny that here it is, you had three, and they say that, the younger generations really don't understand. There's always jokes that we don't understand what we're reading. We can't comprehend. We can't fully comprehend. We can't spell. We have very short attention spans. All of these negative things they say. But here it is. You had three older adult men who all had civics, because a lot of us, if you were 80s baby, if you was born in the 90s and 2000s, they took civics out of the school system. So a lot of us never had civics. Many of us had social studies in different histories, right? We had world history, we had state history. So whatever state you lived in, you had your state history. But for most of us, we did not have civics. We even had what they called social science, a lot of us. But many of us did not have civics class because they took it out of the school system curriculum, right? Now, here it is, you have three adult men who all had civics, because back in that time, they still had civics implemented in the school system. And they themselves did not understand that the semicolon definitely brought the sentences together, or the clauses together, versus one being over the other. I'm going to say it again. The semicolon brought the clauses together instead of one being over the other. The only thing that makes those treaties higher than the Constitution is those treaties were in place before the Constitution and they were never repealed. They continue on. That's why those treaties supersede. Now, let's get into a lot of what we got going on today, and much of the distraction and what we still don't understand and we have not seen because we don't really pay attention a lot of times. So here we have Lincoln. And Lincoln is, they said, this is the Smithsonian Magazine. All right, Smithsonian Magazine. And it says, Lincoln as Commander-in-Chief, listen now, a self-taught strategist with no combat experience. Abraham Lincoln saw the path to victory more clearly than his generals. Make that make sense. You've never been in war. You don't know. The lay of the land. You don't know where the waterways end and stop. You don't know where the mountains begin and end. But you know more. You don't even know how many are on the opposite side that's in the military. You don't know all the artillery. Like you don't know any of this. You're a self-taught strategist with no combat experience. That means that you were never in the military other than, they say, was in the Illinois militia. But you don't have any combat experience, meaning you was never in a war. You never actually fought. You just went and showed up for drill. Says, with no combat experience, Abraham Lincoln saw the path to victory more clearly than his generals. Make it make sense. How you going to see it more clearly than your generals? These are the generals. Let's get into it. So this picture of Abraham Lincoln says President Abraham Lincoln with officers in 1862 rarely dictated battlefield tactics. Right? This is a picture. This is a real picture of him and General McLean. Right? Who actually was Lieutenant General McLean. Now, he fired him and he hired Grant, Ulysses Grant. Right? This is who he hired. I don't really like to use Wikipedia a lot. But this is Ulysses Grant. Now, when I started to really study civics, and I really began to study the details of words, pictures, listen to things that people would say, clearly just study and listen and hear instead of talking, just having a hearing ear. I began to notice a lot of things, right? And one of the things that I noticed about the Great Rebellion, also known as the Civil War, is the placement of the officers. Something just really seemed off. And I've never heard anyone talk about and actually pointed out how off it actually seemed. I'm not saying that it didn't happen, but what I'm saying is the depictions that were given seems to not be really real. And I'm gonna show you some things. Here's the picture. We see the picture of Ulysses Grant, right? Here he is. And in this picture, we see that for some reason his uniform is not buttoned up all the way. Like, that is really, really strange. Yeah, that's real strange, because if you are the lieutenant general, and you're that means you're second in charge, right? Because Lincoln said that he was the commander in chief. You're the lieutenant general, and you're supposed to always, especially in the company of all the other soldiers, that's your uniform is supposed to be spot on. Your uniform is supposed to be spot on. I mean, the uniform speaks a lot, like it speaks volumes. And at first when I started to see, I was like, that's kind of weird. And then I seen it even more. Like, this is him older. And even in his older years, he still has it's just unbuttoned like that. This is supposed to be him as a brigadier general, right? And this is before he became lieutenant general under Lincoln. Here he is again. The buttons, like, why isn't it buttoned up? I never understood this. I really never understood this. Like, down at his uniform just seemed like it didn't fit. This one right here looks like it's pleated backwards. It's pleated on itself, right? It was another one. Here's the same one again. Here it is. And he always has this bottom button unbuttoned. He always had like this bottom button unbuttoned. All right. Now, what also I realized and I saw was this Abraham Lincoln, he was on the battlefield, but he was never in uniform. And he was the commander in chief on the battlefield. If you're the commander in chief on a battlefield, you're supposed to be in uniform. Like, I've never seen him in uniform on the battlefield. Like this right here, this is good if giving a speech. This is an outfit that you can wear, to a dinner. This is not battlefield ready. I'm ready to see my my opponents. No, that's not what that is. Yeah, but he definitely got rid of McLean early on. One of the other things that I saw was this picture, which is a picture of Robert E. Lee, they say. They say this is a picture of Robert E. Lee. And from what they say, Robert E. Lee is the general for the Confederate Army, or the Confederate States of America, right? That's what we were taught. That's what we have come to know. Now, this says why Robert E. Lee wasn't hanged as a traitor after the Civil War. It says General Lee and his Confederate officers, in their first meeting since Appomattox taken at White Sulphur Springs, West Virginia, in August 1869, where they met to discuss the orphaned children of the lost cause. The orphan children of the lost cause. We're going to put a pause in that because we're not even going to go into that tonight, but we'll be getting into that. It says this is the only from life photograph of Lee with his generals in existence during the war or after. What? Huh? This is the only from life photograph of Lee with his generals in existence during the war or after? Make that make sense. And then why none of them ain't they don't none of them have on uniforms? Not one, but they are discussing the orphan children of the lost cause. Woo! Who could those orphan children be, and what is the lost cause? All right, let's get to it. It says left to right standing: General James Conner, General Martin Witherspoon, Gary, General John B. Magruder, General Robert D. Lilly, General P.G.T. Burgard, General Alexander Lawton, General Henry A. Wise, General Joseph Lancaster Brent. Left to right seated: Black Bay. Black Bay is right here, the one that's sitting right next. Matter of fact, it looked like him and like they in the seat together. They the closest. Him and Robert E. Lee. Woo! Can't make this up if I wanted to. Nah, not this. Can't make this up. No. This right here. You cannot make this up. Black Bay. Shout out to all the bays. Black Bay was the Turkish minister to the United States. The Turks. Woo! Oh man, this is hilarious. Black Bay. And then it's spelled black, the way that you would spell it if you were speaking French. Black Bey, Turkish minister to the United States. Then you got, wow, you got General Robert E. Lee. Then you have philanthropist George Peabody. You have philanthropist William Wilson Cochran. And then you have James Lyons of Virginia. Man, Black Bey, Minister Black Bey. Woo! Yeah. Okay. But it's amazing that this is the only photo. So there were no photos during. I mean, I get it. It's really understandable. Like maybe during, but then again, these generals, they were on battlefields together. So you would have thought at least once, maybe once, from 1861 to 1865, at least. Well, especially, when Robert E. Lee gave up. I mean, you would have thought all the generals was there. After even, maybe after the war, they would have taken a photo. But no, this is the only real life photo. I mean, and they well in their age. Robert E. Lee looked like he about to go any day. 1869. He looking real old. Like, hey, that war was hard. But yeah, you got Black Bey. Black Bey. Yeah. Black Bey. So then here we go again. Here he goes again. So they say this is him. Yeah, they say this is him. So they say. They say it's him. Check out this past week's Sunday school. Check out this past week's Sunday school. I put it on my Facebook page. If you are already following me on Facebook, make sure you follow me at K Glover Ill on Facebook. But yeah, this is who they say Robert E. Lee was. This right here is the monument from 1901. No, 1890. My bad. 1890 is the monument, the unveiling of the Lee Monument of Robert E. Lee. It says a crowd of men and boys, both white and black, surround the large equestrian statue of Confederate General Robert E. Lee that was unveiled in Richmond on May 29th, 1890. This photograph was taken on the day of the unveiling. And here this photograph is. But you know what? I just be paying attention to everything, and I realize that a lot of stuff that people have written in history and have told us, a lot of times it's not the truth, right? Because I couldn't understand how is it that this boy right here, this pale skinned European boy, the one in the very front, could be dressed up. I mean, he dressed to the T, ain't he? Let's look at him. Let me blow it up a little bit more. He is dressed up. Let me share this so y'all can see it. Let me share this so y'all can get this. Right, this little boy right here, he is dressed up. Ain't he dressed up? I mean, he got on his pressed white shirt. with his pants on, and a sun hat. And what was crazy was he ain't got on no shoes. Look at his feet. His feet. Oh man, his feet are out. He has no shoes on. Now everybody else got on boots, shoes. He ain't got no shoes on. Where is his shoes? This is the unveiling of the monument. So this what this is saying is these are the men who helped and worked to get this monument all the way up there. And you mean to tell me that these men could have been stepping on this little boy feet with no shoes on, and he is dressed up and he ain't got no shoes on his feet? Could this be one of the little orphan children from the lost cause? I don't know. That seemed very, very strange that this little boy had no shoes on outside. And then he's supposed to be helping and working to help get this monument, this statue up. Man, stuff be starting to look real different when you pay attention. When you don't be paying attention, a lot of this stuff just goes right by you. But when you start to pay attention to your surroundings and you listen to hear and not to speak, you begin to see it all. Yeah, that was different. That little boy didn't have no shoes on. Okay. I want to go into looking at I want to look at a brother by the name of Sir Solomon Jones. Sir Solomon Jones had videos that he made 1924, 25, 26, 27, 28. And he videoed us, right? He had videos of us. When I say us, I'm talking about us, the Asiatics here in North America, in several states and locations. And what I was really looking at was like, man, wow, we were living in conditions that was never told to us growing up in school. What was told to us in school is that we were African slaves put on slave ships, and we were urinating, defecating on each other, and women having menstrual cycles on each other. We was all, laying on top of each other with a bunch of bed sores and disease, but somehow we made it through that tough and hard journey of the transatlantic slave trade. This middle passage is what they call it. And we had to work on these plantations in the harshest of conditions and environments, and we worked early before the sun came up and very late after the sun went down, with no food, no water, just out in the heat and cold, just working all day long. You gotta think about it. You just look at the cold, right? You gotta have the best of the best coats on, gloves, scarves, hats, just to be out in the cold all day where you don't die from frostbite. Uh yeah, and the same thing with the heat. You gotta be really strong. I mean, really strong. I mean, you got to have genes of God in order to not pass out and faint in the summer. You got no breaks. You can't even go to the bathroom. You go to the bathroom, you're going to get the whipping post. You're going to get beat all night and all day long. And then you're going to have all of these open wounds. And you got to get back out there immediately and work again. Like that. This is this type of stuff that we've been taught about us. Right. And what I found funny is, you know, there is none that we have been privy to. Like, we haven't had any voice recordings, we haven't had any videotapes of Prophet Noble Drew Ali, but you do have Marcus Garvey. Right, and Marcus Garvey was out during the time of the Prophet, but we don't have any of Prophet Noble Drew Ali, and I really feel as though that is done on purpose, because here it is, his brother Sir Solomon Jones is videotaping us in all different, even different countries. Let's get to Sir Solomon Jones. Yeah, let's get to Sir Solomon Jones. It says, let me blow this up. And this is this collection was through Yale University. It says Solomon Sir Jones films consist of 29 silent black and white films documenting quote unquote African American communities in Oklahoma from 1924 to 1928. The films measures 12,800 feet, 355 minutes. All films are B wine positive prints except one roll that contains approximately 150 feet of orange based B wine positive. Jones filmed Oklahoma residents in their homes during their social, school, and church activities, in the businesses they own, and performing various jobs. The films document several Oklahoma communities, including Muskogee, Muligi, Tulsa, Wewoka, Bristol, and Taft. The films also document Jones's trips to Indiana, Texas, Louisiana, Arkansas, Tennessee, Missouri, Illinois, New York, South Carolina, Colorado, and overseas to France, England, Palestine, Switzerland, Italy, North Africa, and Germany. Slates between scenes identify locations, dates, and subjects. Jones frequently filmed at various locations by postponing himself outside a building while people exited the building in a line. This perspective provides footage of people as they walk by the camera, usually looking directly at it. Footage of churches includes congregants exiting the service and socializing outside. Footage of schools often included students playing outside or doing exercises, and footage of people at their homes, including them outside on their porches or in their yards. Aside from church and scheduled school activities, people presumably exited at Jones' request for the purpose of being filmed by him. I want to play the first film that he has. Film number 1. It's 15 minutes. So we're going to play this. Shout out to Brother Elwood Evansville said, facts. Y'all can see how old this brick looks on this building. This is a really old building. I don't know why it keeps buffering. It wasn't doing this earlier. Let me try to play it again from the beginning. Let's see. Here we go. Woodman of Union, 4,000 member drive. 4,000 members of the union. So this is the church that's being erected, the First Baptist Church. Langston University. This is Langston University. Look at the building. This building belongs to us. Like this is their building. This is not a locate. This Langston University is their building. It's in the 1920s, early 1920s. Did y'all see the military soldier? And these films are silent films, so they don't have any sound to them. Look how many cars they. Let me go back. Look how many cars they have. And these was not no broke folk. It's like everybody just pulled up for their graduation. Yeah, it's like everybody just pulled up to the graduation. Again, this is Langston University. All right, this is Mr. George W. Davis Country Home, 20 miles from Muskogee, Oklahoma. Look at their home. Look at it. This look like a ran down shack. No, this is not. This is stucco, brick. They got a screened in porch. White picket fence. 2-story. And look at the farm. His herd bulls. Aberdeen, Angus, and Hartford. Coming from the city. Russell Davis Farm number 1. Look at these homes. These are homes on the farm. His alfalfa farm. Farm number 3. Mr. and Mrs. Davis had a lot of money. Farm number 2. Thoroughbred Angus. Man, that's the best of the best cattle. Hereford cattle. It's a lot of cattle. Second part of their Angus herd. Dang, where they get all this money from? Fresh out of slavery. I mean, today we haven't been in slavery since 1865. 2023, most of us don't even own a car, let alone they got like 4 farms, houses. I mean, acres on acres on acres on acres of land. Mr. Davis and some of his cowboys after the roundup. They even got swings on their porch. They had a lot of cars. I'm gonna go back and find out what type of cars these are. Mr. and Mrs. Ragsdale first farm home near Bristol, Oklahoma. I want to go back to that really quickly. It says their number one 4,000 barrels per day oil well. Their number one 4,000 barrels per day oil well. The Ragsdales are oil tycoons. How you come from slavery into oil? Oil barons? Hmm. Wow. You got a whole oil production business. Says the Carter oil category number 3. Then it says 1669. That's going to be the coordinates, Creek County. 1669 or 1662. Creek County. Those are the coordinates of the oil well. The Carter oil. The Carter. Look at that house. Wow. Yeah, that don't look like they were needy or poor. They stayed coming from the city, didn't they? Look at the Ragsdales and all their money. Lincoln High School. Bristol, Oklahoma. Wow. Look at the school building. So that is Sir Solomon Jones and his films. Go and check those out. He has all types of films that he made of us, what we own, what we were a part of, things we were doing, how we was living in the early to mid, even late 1920s. Check those out. It's strange that here it is, not even 100 years from slavery, from being under what they consider to be the harshest of harsh conditions that we now, owning, you know, oil fields. We're owning oil fields. As a matter of fact, I was doing some research about the oil fields, and I wanted to look at and share some information about how long it really takes for oil to develop or to develop oil. So here we go. It says developing, this is investopedia.com. Says developing new oil and gas fields while new wells in developed reservoirs can be drilled and brought online in a matter of months. Timelines for production from new fields stretch for years because they have complex permitting requirements and require the construction of infrastructure such as pipelines and storage facilities. It said for years. So one study found the world's largest oil and gas fields average 5.5 years from discovery to first production and took 17 years of production on average to reach peak output. So we're talking about close to 25 years before it really got it popping. And we're talking about, acres upon acres upon acres of oil field. Acres upon acres of, it had to take years. Years. So if slavery ended in 1865, it had to take well into that much oil, that many acres of land that's pumping out oil. Woo! I don't even know how they did it in less than 100 years. That is just unique at its best. So yeah, shout out to them. I don't know how they was able to do it. They did it. Lastly, before I close out this evening, it is very important that we not just listen and are told what to do, how to do it, but to really know yourself and your Father God Allah. It is important that you listen to actually hear so that you can study self. The more that you study self, the more that you'll begin to see a lot of the inconsistencies that we were taught about this thing called history, right? We just watch how much we had accomplished and from slavery to the end of slavery to the early 1920s. That's not even the majority of the films. I just showed one. So imagine having all of these films and watching them. When you have time with your family in your spare time, watch these, study these. You're going to see a lot and learn a lot of things about us and what we was doing and how we was living. It is truly amazing to be able to watch us and not just be told about what we were doing in the history books. So if we look at what we had then compared to what we have now, I had several phone calls and messages today about the Biden what is it called? The Biden, I think it's the Biden American Rescue Plan Act. That's what it is. The Biden administration's American Rescue Plan Act. And they have set aside, let me go back to it. They have set aside 1.75 billion in American Indian and Alaska Native government programs administered under the oversight of the Department of Interior's Assistant Secretary Indian Affairs. Right? And so you're supposed to be a tribal nation and organization that is not a nonprofit in order to receive the funding. Compared to what we had back then and what we have now, 1.75 billion is a joke. It is a joke compared to what has been taken and stolen from us. If you set up your trust and you got your family's estate, you already have your tribal organization. So the funding is there. I employ each and every one of you to go back and get your family's land. There's so many corporations that owe us. 1.75 billion is a mockery. It's a mockery. It's a slap in the face. Because after the 1.75 billion, are they going to go home? Are they going to leave? Are they going to continue to do business on our land without paying? Continue to oppress us on our land? Continue to murder us senseless? That y'all understand how many children have been murdered? Our children in the past month have been murdered from foreigners. I employ each and every one of you to go, if you haven't already, please. And if you don't have the records already, go do your genealogy. It is of the most importance to know thyself. Moors talk about tracing yourself back all the time, and like you're supposed to be tracing some spook spirit back. Oh, you gotta trace your lineage back to the Prophet Noble Jurali. You supposed to be tracing yourself back through Grand Sheik successions. But you ain't even traced yourself back to your great grandparents, your great 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 grandparents. Like, make it make sense. This is the nonsense that the temples have been teaching for years to keep us dumb, blind, deaf, and under submission. Most leaders don't know more than you know. But here we are, running up behind them. Oh, please tell me. Please teach me. Oh, my grand sheik is just so grand. Grand doing what grand work? What grand endeavors? They're not even telling you to go back under your own vine and fig tree. Your own vine and fig tree. We all come from our own vine and fig tree, which comes through our parents and their parents and their parents and their parents. They've helped to misplace us, telling us that we're descendants of African slaves. Here it is, Prophet Noble Drew let us know that we were enslaved mentally. Mental enslavement, mental slavery. He said there is still much for the descendants of Africa to learn. We're going to say Africa, we're talking about amexem, and that's Northwest amexem, not the continent known as Africa today. You know, one of the reasons why a lot of these foreigners from the countries in the continent of Africa really don't like us is because we call them Africans. Because there's really no such thing as Africa. They have race pride. They have nation pride. They are proud of their flags in their homeland. And we have been disrespectful for far too long by not calling them by who they are. It is the utmost disrespect that we continue to practice, and we put ourselves in perpetual bondage and slavery. And this is what these teachers, these leaders, and these elders have taught us in error. Lastly, America is the true old world. It started here and went out. With that, I want to thank each and every one of you who came out, listened, participated. Shout out to the chat. If you like to donate, show some love, check out the Cash App. It's past time for us to know and not just regurgitate and recite because it sounds good. It looks good. Know yourself and your Father God Allah. Peace.